Okay, here are some of my thread holders and some collections of things I've got, just to walk you through. So, some time ago, I was thrilled to see that Schmetz had its needles on sale in big packs. Downside is they were quite small, so 70 and 80. However, I do a lot of fine work on shirt fabric, and these work excellently. I do like Schmetz needles. They're good and sharp. The metal is solid. I've never really had any trouble. So here we have 12, 16. I've also used universal. These are size 20. As you see, I had a 16 there, and you can see how many I broke. So I don't think the universal are as strong as the Schmetz. However, it could have just been a bad day on the machines and using them. I certainly have had no trouble sewing with them. I do tend to break them though. Here's also some Claas needles. They're all German made, so I suppose they are probably much of a muchness. But those are ballpoint needles, so if you're sewing any knit fabrics. Now here I have size 14 needles that I got from Janome. I've had these many years and used them very well and found actually they're very good. Here's Janome denim needle. Use that very well with success. So here's the universal. I've got 16, 18, 20. So they do them quite large for your domestic machine. I've also got a universal size 12. Universal size 11. So as you can see, depending on which country you get them from, you get them different sizes, whether they're 70. So I think those are 10 and 11 respectively. Universal size 20. A Janome, this was a mixed lot I got with the machine I had. And I've got an Organ leather needle. And I've used 2 of those in my project for making cushions. So I broke a few there as well. But I also have up here 2 sets of Schmetz leather needles. They were on a good price, so I ordered them, and that's quite handy. I also have some Chinese made needles. These I have not tried yet, so I can't comment on how well they're going to do, but they are, from what it looks like, are they? I'm just wondering if these might be industrial. No, they've got a flat side on them. So these are size 16 needles, so I will have to give those a go. I haven't tried them yet, but we'll see how that goes on. And then I have some ancient vintage needles, which I haven't gotten around to. These are really old, and they're to be used with the embroidery machine that I got online. So it's a specific type of embroidery machine. Here's some vintage Singer size 18 needles. So it's hard to find size 18, so I've got those. And then when I bought a vintage machine, I got a few freebies. So I'm not sure what size those needles are, but you can always sort of gauge if they're the right size by the thread. That tends to be the secret. So it's good and sharp point. Looks, given the size, I would say it's probably a 12. So you can sort of put your 12s next to your 12s and you'll know what you're getting. Well, that one's empty, so that's going to be a good spare. So I also have a hem stitch needle. So if you're doing any hem stitch work on a machine which takes it, as opposed to the hem stitch attachment, which I also have. I've got a couple of different width Singer double needles. They work okay. I know Singer isn't Singer, but they're okay. They work. I have used these. I've used up all my other Singer needles that I got in the UK. I only have size 16 left. I hate the packaging with a fury. So really I should transpose them into this. As soon as you open it up, you can't change needles, and I change needles all the time. A double needle, if you don't break it, you're going to use it again, but it's kind of a pain like that. So I do not like these packages. These I prefer a long way. Got another hem stitch needle there. I've got a top stitch needle, another Schmetz top stitch. Whether or not you need a top stitch needle, I don't know. I've used big needles quite successfully. The difference really is they tend to be quite sharp, but if you get a Sharps needle, it's not a problem. Here's an embroidery needle. You can see I've been through a ton of these in my project, kept breaking the needles all over the place with thick fabric. So I've got a number of those, size 14. Got a freebie needle there from something that's fallen out. If it's got red, it's the Singer. Got another top stitch needle, so I've got plenty of spare needles there that I've gone through. Again, another one, because I was breaking them like you wouldn't believe. That's top stitch. So I got a lot of embroidery needles and we've done okay. I've got another twin universal from Claas. This one is a 6mm wide. And even though most of my machines are 5mm zigzag, the Singer 401, so I've got a 401G and I had the 403, as well as my 319, will take this. The brother that I have will also do a 6mm wide, so if you want to do double stitching like that, I've got two of those because the likelihood of breaking it is quite high. And I have another a set of metallic threads. So I have quite a varied selection here. And certainly if I have a choice to buy Schmetz, I always do. Never had any trouble, been very happy. But I've used pretty much all of these needles with pretty good results. What I have found is that some of the metal quality is different. So some of the needles do dull more quickly or you might get a burr. Now this is where the secret comes in. You've probably been wondering if you notice these. You can use these, like this is off my tomato thing, to sharpen needles. But okay, so you can shove your needles in and out of there to remove burrs or something. This, and I learned about this from, it was one of the vintage websites. In fact, what's his name? Alex Askarov. He was talking about how ladies, when they used to sew professionally, had to pay for their own needles. So they used them until they got dull, and then of course you can't really use a needle properly when it gets dull. So they used to have needle sharpeners with troughs like that in it. So I tried for love and money and everything else to find a needle sharpener. Could I find it? No. Could I find a vintage one? No. However, in my flurry of search, I found fish hook sharpeners. Sounds really odd, but what used to sharpen needles now sharpen the fish hooks. And you know what? It works brilliantly. So if you get a dull needle, or one with a burr, where it starts catching on your silk or your cotton and it's doing damage, pull it out, and all you do is, depends if you're left-handed or right-handed, you drag it backwards, spinning it like that, just each time, so you do practically, I know it's round, but you do 4 sides of it, and you just drag it back and forth a few times, spinning it each time. If it's a small needle like this looks like it's a very small hole, so I'd say that's a 10. Don't push too hard because you break it. Now what you want to do is make sure it's perfectly smooth. Okay, that's perfectly smooth. And that it's sharp enough. So that's pretty sharp. It will certainly pierce your good fabric, but I'm quite happy to sharpen it just a bit more. It does not take practice, this, I have to admit. Just try it, be gentle, and you'll see it works. It's pretty easy all around. Just make sure you drag it backwards. And that's good and sharp now. And that's all you have to do. So if you're using up a needle and you want to save yourself a bit of money, get one of those. They're pretty cheap. But it allows you to use your needles to the bitter end. And I've had really good results with this. So unless I break a needle, I can keep using it until I run out. Hence why some of these have lasted a bit longer, because I haven't actually broken them for a change. So that looks like it's a size very small, so I'll put it in there since it looks like it's about that size. And that's basically all there is to needles. So all of these will work in any sewing machine that I have. I also have industrial needles for my one industrial machine, and they're tough. I mean, they're way tougher than these kind of needles, more like nails practically. But I've tried all the selection up to size 20. I haven't found any size 23 in domestic, even though I know my brother and stuff could deal with it. But in reality, if I'm going that thick, I will use my industrial, because I don't really want to ruin my very good machines because they're beautiful. Anyway, thanks very much. Speak soon.